on the background of your learner. So if you have a student who's attended school for 5 years in the Philippines, he comes to you in grade 5 or 6, he's already going to have all of that academic language in his first language, and he'll just have to transfer that over. If a student started school in K and they're not, English isn't their first language, then they're going to have to learn BICS, get to CALP, and then start kind of filling up 3 years that their peers would have had. Okay, so this isn't happening in isolation. Students are learning both of these things in tandem, so don't think that they're not. So don't think that they're not learning CALP, or at one point like a switch flicks and all of a sudden they're ready to learn academic language. It is happening at the same time. It's just this is where you're going to see the biggest gap with your B1s. That's why I'm bringing it up today. And just a reminder that you never actually stop learning language. So Canadian-born peers are also learning academic language every day. Yeah, I put on the slide, for example, some of you probably learned about BICS and CALP today, so that's new language for you. But it's just about gap closing at this point. So I said, up the ante, force the issue. You have to give structured opportunities to challenge these kids. So it's, if in your A1, A2 classes, you're doing a lot of just conversational English and you're able to speak a lot and just have like some chats about things, you're going to have to give these students kind of more targeted reasons to use expanded vocabulary and expand on their ideas and use more complex, more sophisticated language. So I see. Oh, yeah. And I said I'm going to ask for volunteers. Sorry in advance. So today I'm just going to take you through mostly vocabulary focused lessons and outcomes. Not to say that you can't teach other things and that B1s don't need anything but vocabulary. But I think if you start with vocabulary, that's going to give you a big bang for your buck, because then they're going to be able to access the text a lot more easily, and they're going to be able to access their classes a lot more easily if they understand these words. So there are other things certainly that you can focus on with B1s. They need, grammar. They need to know how to do complex sentences. They need to speak around those things as well, and to be able to read and write those things as well. I'm just going to focus on vocabulary today for the sake of time, and also because I think that it's pretty high yield. So you'll get a lot out of it. So the first thing that I would do, and I'm just going to take you through kind of ideas around what I would do if I were teaching B1, is build anticipation for a topic. So pre-read. Before you get them to do a really dense academic text or something that's a little bit more academic focused, I would say, I would build some anticipation. So you can do a chart for that. You can do a graphic organizer. You could just have a discussion. In this case, what I did was I built a word cloud. So I copied and pasted the first paragraph of an article from a B1 level reading, and I pasted it and made a word cloud. So what I'm going to do is model for you how I would do this. So we're going to have a look at the word cloud. You're going to take 20 seconds, and then you can turn on your mic, or if you have access to chat, you can put it in the chat. Try and guess what the article is going to be about.
Hi, it's Anita. I'm not seeing anything but the people.
Oh no.
No, I'm not seeing what you're putting up.
Can you see my slides? Oh, I don't know why, Anita.
No, and I don't know Teams well enough to know why either.
Oh, I don't know. Is everybody else seeing my slides?
I am taken.
Yeah, okay. Anita, maybe go out and back in and see if that helps.
I will. Okay.
Does anybody have an idea of what this article might be about? Or Carol's guess. Her hand is stuck up. You can put it in chat, or I can call on you.
I keep trying to put it down, and it doesn't seem to want to come down.
Okay. Carol, it's okay. Do you want to take a guess about what the article is about? Judging from the word cloud?
Family time?
Okay.
Spending more time on Facebook?
Maybe, yeah.
Posts.
Grandparents' use of Facebook?
Grandparents spending more time on Facebook so they can spend more time with the grandchildren.
Yep. That's right. So it's actually about, I think everybody got the gist or got some part of it. It's actually about different generations and their use of social media. So the reason that Facebook is so big is because they talk about that rather than Instagram or Twitter or the other ones. But yeah, you got it. So I would build anticipation. We would talk about, what do we already know about Facebook? Do our grandparents use it? Who's using it more and less? All of those kinds of questions.
Do you have any ideas why my microphone doesn't
Corey, will
work?
you watch the chat and mute?
It doesn't work at all. Just press it. And not even chat. Oh, I can just hear them. I'm in the middle of the meeting. Can you
Resvan, we can hear you.
Yeah. You said you can hear me?
You go in the participant list. Okay. Go forward. It's okay, Corey. I think Melissa is going to do it. So, yeah, have students from there tell you what they need to know. So I would go through the word cloud. I would print it. I would go through the word cloud. And I would say, identify one word that you know for sure. So Facebook, they will probably know. Choose 2 words that they think they know. So sometimes students will think that a word, like, oh, I think that I know that word, or they'll say that they do, but they don't really. So I would like to give that opportunity to kind of have that mid-level, like, that word is familiar, I think I know it, but maybe I need a little bit of extra help. And then 2 for sure that they don't. So I would get them to generate a list, and they're going to tell you from here what vocabulary they need. So they probably know words like spending and says and joining and see and whatever. After that, you'll generate a list. So it'll depend on your time, obviously, with your group, how many students you have. If you're one-on-one, this might only take a session. If you have more than one, you might break it up over the course of several sessions. And then from there, you'll take those words, and this is where I need my volunteers. My voluntold. Oops. Next one. There. So we'll generate a word list, and then we're going to play today together a game kind of like Taboo. So rather than just asking the students to define and write a sentence, I would take just a card or like a recipe card or something like that. On one side, I would put the word, whatever it is, and on the back, I would put the definition. Oh, actually, I wouldn't put anything on the back. Then I would have the student hold up the word and describe to their partner or to me what the word is, and they would guess. So we're going to try that today, hopefully. Rose, I'm going to start with you. I sent out words in advance to some people and asked if they would like to participate in the game. So Rose is going to describe her word to the group, and we're going to try and guess what it is. So you can turn on your mic if you'd like, or you can put it in chat.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I love that. Can you hear me? My word, its definition would be a group of people born and living during the same time. That's clue number 1.
Okay.
Think grandparents, great aunts, great uncles.
Okay. So if you think you know, you can put it in the chat.
Okay.
Oh.
Or you can say it if you want. Yeah, go ahead, Rose.
Clue number 2, X, Y, Z, and boomer.
I think we've got
You
lots
got
of
it.
guesses. Yeah, for
They're
generation.
so smart.
Thank you, Rose. There.
Can I give my one last clue? I love it.
Go for it.
A classic song by The Who.
Oh, this is a generational game.
Yes, so you'll
Is
have
it-
that stuck in your head for the rest of the afternoon.
Oh, the new mentors won't. I have a different song to stick in their head this afternoon. Yeah, awesome. Excellent clues, Rose. I'm going to move to Susie, who loves presenting in teams. She's got a word for us. Susie, are you there? Oh, maybe she left my group. All right, we'll move to Resvan then. I can see you there. Oh, Resvan, we could hear you earlier. Maybe she's going to come back in.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Go ahead, Susie.
Not to unmute.
Oh, that's key.
Sorry.
Key to working. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot. Okay, so it's when sounds come out of your mouth to communicate a message or a feeling or information. Very good. Somebody already guessed
Gotta
it.
guess. Yes, very good. Oh, thanks, Christian. They're all from this list. I should have said that to begin with.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. Good. Is Resvan back? Did you see? Oh. Yeah, Resvan, we could hear your mic earlier, but I don't see you even on my list. It's okay. No worries. All right. I'll do one. It's like organization, but you have everything organized and then maybe you want to do this from biggest to smallest. Yes. Heather Tarian, so excited with all caps arranged. Very good. All right. So you get the idea. Students then have to use the word in context because it's really difficult to kind of think about a situation where they would have to use these words, but they would have to use them. They have to describe them and they have to go back and forth. Now, words like ironically, that's difficult. I would probably want to define all of these with the students and think about their background too. So Rose used a great example of like a song. If there's something that you know that they know, then they can use those for examples as well. So it's a fun game that you can play and it gives really targeted reason to speak and reason to use those. So next one. So then I just put, this is being recorded and we will upload it to YouTube. These are some places that you can find some leveled text. So I would always recommend that you generate text with the student. So you're having them dictate it and write it, or they can, they can come up with their own topics and do their own writing, and then you can kind of do the reading based on that, or they can read each other's, it doesn't matter. But if you want to find like high quality kind of printable things, these would be 3 places that I would go. British Council, I would just be a little bit wary because there might be some differences between British English and Canadian English that you would have to just explain basically. Once you've got your vocabulary done, you can make a list in your room or in a little list that they can take to class if you wanted to do that. They can draw pictures to go with the words. Some of these are so abstract, so that's why it's difficult to teach Tier 2 vocabulary. You can't just show a picture. These, oh, Agnes, that's a good question. So these wouldn't be the same levels because these are specifically for English language learners. So if you go to British Council Lingua or Lingua House, you're going to see the language level. So the difference would be that these are specifically like head words, if you're familiar with head words, that English language learners would have versus English native speakers would have. I can see everybody writing notes, so I'm not going to change my slide yet. Another benefit of having your cameras on, thank you. But these will be available if you want to write them down. Lingua House, I put some free and some paid. The free ones are still high quality, and I think that they isolate the vocabulary from each separately. That word cloud that I made, if you just Google word cloud, you can find it and you can copy and paste it in there. Okay. So use vocabulary in context with your B1s. You can have them answer questions using the vocabulary. We already played the vocabulary game. If they're learning something specific and you know they are, so say they're learning about photosynthesis is always what I use as an example, because that's kind of, I think, the first big word that we learn. If they're learning about that in class, you can always have them dictate to you, like, what did you learn in science class today? Or what did you learn in social studies today? And that kind of forces them to use that vocabulary. The more that they're saying it out loud, the better they're going to remember it. And then it's going to become a part of their usable vocabulary. So it's not enough to just, and this goes for all students and all people, it's not just enough to say, here's your vocabulary list and the definitions. In order to actually have that be part of what you can use, you have to practice using it, and then it will be stored in your brain. So like I said, the reason that I focused on this is because if their vocabulary level increases, so if they're better with, these are called tier 2 words usually, then their literacy is going to improve because they're not going to be constantly coming to words that they have to figure out. So if you think about even like a grade 3 math textbook, they're going to see words like decrease and increase and analyze and horizontal and vertical. And those are words that we just expect that students will know after a point in time, but English language learners won't necessarily know them. So there are lists of words by grade, but you would keep in mind, one, that context is your friend. So you never want to give a student just a list of words and say, head out and look these up and then report back. That's not really going to help them learn them and internalize them. And also keep in mind that even if you have a grade 2 word list, your student might be in grade 5 or grade 8 and still not have these words, depending on how long they've been learning English and how long they've been in school. The CBC Learn English is another great website to use for kind of B1 learners. It has higher level things, and their levels are Canadian language benchmarks. So you'll see level 1, level 2. You can use trial and error to figure out what your students need. Even books at the same, or I guess texts at the same level, will be more or less accessible to the same student depending on what they know about the background and what their experience is and whatever. So I don't want to give you a list of things that they need help with, but things like conditionals, could, would, should, may, they're going to want to be experimenting more with text. So something like reported speech is difficult because if I say, yesterday we went to the store and she said, let's get some grapes or whatever, I'm switching from past tense to present tense in the same sentence. So that's going to be something that's a little bit more sophisticated that we don't necessarily think about, and it might be a little bit more difficult for our B1s. So like I said, there's lots of small specific things that you can teach, but I think with vocabulary, you'll get a lot of bang for your buck, and you'll start to see where those gaps are. So if you come to a sentence, like a complex sentence, and they're really struggling with it, or passive voice, then you can always do a lesson on that. So things will expand based on this, but I would start with vocabulary. That's it. Are there any questions? You can pop them in the chat or you can turn on your mic. put up your hand if you want to, or you can just say it. But he's quiet now.
I use a lot of visuals, and it seems to be working well with the student that I'm working with.
Mhm.
I just create slides of images of, yesterday we did winter and in anticipation of winter coming. So I had 40 slides about things he's going to see here in Canada in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah, and visuals are great. Even into B1, I would never say like, oh, never show them a picture or do slides or anything like that. It's just when we start to get into like words like ironically, how do we illustrate that, right? So we need to kind of not move away from visuals, but the
Yeah,
support.
these are all these are all
Yeah.
very concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. Nouns and verbs and I don't want to say the easier things, but things that are definitely easier to represent visually, right?
Yeah,
But
it was
yeah,
cute.
never
It was
stop using
cute that
visuals.
I told him he could write a sentence, but for everyone that had snow in it, he just wrote snow. Snow.
Wait until he sees snow. If this
Yeah.
is his first year here.
Yes, it is.
Questions? Comments? And I don't want to make you think that like this is all going to depend very much on your learners and the size of your groups and those sorts of things. So Lois, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm wondering why my name isn't showing up on the list.
I don't know. Oh, it is. Melissa says she sees it.
Mine isn't showing up neither.
Okay, I'm not the only
I
one.
see you, Agnes, on my list. Maybe you don't see yourself unless you're presenting.
Maybe it's taking time. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. Great, thank you.
No problem. There you are. Oh, see you later, Rose. Thank you for your help. Bye. So this is just information for our new mentors. We are going to have orientation. We're going to start it promptly at 1 from 1 to 3 this afternoon. I have to get my timings right. You will have gotten an email that just would have sent at the beginning of this meeting in your inbox for a link to that meeting. So what you'll do is leave this meeting and have a half hour for lunch, and then you'll click that link and you'll join the new meeting. Are there any questions about that?
Is it the same link that we clicked on to join this meeting?
No, it's a different one. You will have gotten a different email, but the same email that I used to send this invitation.
Okay.
So, yeah. Hi, Deanna. I think she's gone. That's it. So if that's it, and nobody has questions about how to join the other meeting, then you can head out.
Thank you,
Thanks, Carol.
Tegan.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. And I'll see the new
Thank
mentors
you.
in half an hour. Bye.
Bye. How do I get out?
Click the red leave button.
Oh, there it is. Hang up.
See you soon. You're welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. That's it. Maura and Michelle and Resvan, you can head out unless you have a question for me or for anybody.
They might have had to step away from their computer for a moment. Awesome job. Thank you, Tegan.
No problem.
Appreciate that. So I guess we'll see everyone in half an hour.
Yeah.
Can we connect? Could you give me a call when you have a moment?
Sure.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.